Hey Danny, yeah, there's lots of flickering. I've literally just installed it and I haven't tried anything yet, so I'm literally in the middle of setting up controls, and then I'll find the option to set recenter the VR, and then we'll have to start playing around with graphics settings, see if that can fix whatever this is. But yeah, and it's offline mode. So 100% early access. We shall see. Let's see. It might not be ready for anything at this rate. Who knows? Yep. Haven't got it to recognize. Oh, there we go. What's that? So potentially has the steering wheel recognized. Now let's see, what about pedals? Okay. Brakes. Okay, clutch. Well, let's see. I'm not interested in the handbrake yet. So that's wheel. That's pedals. Clutch on the pedals as well. Clutch on the wheel. Okay. Pedal up. Pedal down. I'm not even going to go deep into all of the potential options of what we could have on the wheel. So, do we have ignition and starter? Flipping hell. Okay, so flashlight. That's essential, right? Rain lights. Yeah, let's see how long the menu music can play before it starts to drive us mad. Here we go. So, toggle ignition, starter, hit limiter, traction control decrease, increase. I'll leave all of these for now. ABS increase, decrease. I seriously need to find the VR recenter button. We'll leave all of these. Brake bias, yep, need that. Forwards, rearwards. We'll come back to these later. We'll come back to all of these later. But that's a lot of... We're not even to the bottom of the options yet. Display device cycle. We'll come back to these. Cockpit lighting. Okay, so the list of options is impressive so far. This is just in car. Wipers. There we go. Okay, so wipers cycle. Just in case it rains. Mirrors. I don't want to cycle mirrors, it's controls. We'll sort out the mirror. Okay, so that's everything in car. UI. Okay. No, let's leave this for now. Okay, camera. It should be in here, right? Where are you? Come on. Reset view. Is it going to be that? No, I bet it's not that. Let's select it for now. Don't want that. Showroom. Don't really care at the moment. Modifiers, don't care at the moment. Okay, it's got to have been that one, but that, let me apply these for now. Okay, no, it is. Okay, there we go. Right, so that's controls, initial controls. Where's force feedback? I've already done that in the profiler. Now that's the profiler settings, and these are based on what Kunos say we should set them to for a Fanatec wheelbase. But where are the in-game force feedback settings? Let's see. I don't see the separate in-game force feedback settings yet. What about properties? No, can't go there. Okay. So if that's controls, see if we can recenter. That's it. That's as good as recentering get. Okay, video. So it's taking the default resolution for my desktop. Frame rates at 60, limited. Vertical sync's off. Full screen is off, triple screen's off, which it should be. Okay, so graphical presets. What could be causing the flickering? What do we have as options? Upscaling, anti-aliasing, multi-sample, texture, level of detail, vehicle level of detail is at low as well. Got our lighting options, reflection options, shadow options, environment, post-processing, motion blur. I never want motion blur, so I'm going to turn that off. And then mirrors. Okay, let's apply that for a second. But where? Let's see what the preset options are. What are the presets? That's very low, low, medium, high, ultra. Let's not go ultra. Let's not be silly. Let's go high. See what high does. I don't know if this flickering is because there's artifacts in here or being in the garage has us in some weird ghost shell of a car or something. So display, unsaved, apply them. Not going to be the vertical sync. Monitor. No option to change that to VR. Let's leave this here for a second. I don't see that there was a VR mode like you've got in ACC. So that's interesting. Why does it keep going back to custom? You're probably going to need to do a reboot or something. A restart, not reboot. So, okay, gameplay, skip intro, let's leave that for now. Online mode. Turn it on. There we go. HUD. Apply that. If that actually makes a difference. Connection to your game's online services could not be established. Okay. We'll figure that out afterwards. So what have we got? Vehicles, Academy, driver profile. Okay. We'll sort all this out afterwards. Gallery, don't need that. Okay. What's in the garage? Of course it's an A-bath. This definitely has prototype, alpha, beta, early access vibes. Let's see what happens if we just go single player, jump on the track, see if it looks weird like this as well. Weather, let's leave it clear. Let's take it off static. Make it dynamic. Do whatever you like with dynamic. And look, we change from the A-bath. Yeah, good. Because I don't ever like driving that car. So let's pick something. Will it let us pick any of these? Let's go. Okay, will it actually let us go? Let's go for VW. Okay. Scene options, what are those? Time of day, we'll leave it as it is. Car controls. I'll tell you what I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen the options for setting game options, like assist and stuff. I don't want any of those on. Let's take it to Imola. Practice session. Let's make it a long practice session. Okay, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So let's make it all pro. We don't want anything on. Automatic ignition, turn that off. Automatic clutch on start. No. Landing assist, let's put that on in case. No blipping, no automatics, no ideal line, no stability control. Hey Trevor. So that's what I was looking for. Turn off all of these options. Yeah, I had to get in and do the whole, need to be able to map a reset or bind a reset button. So let's see what this actually, okay. So first things first, it feels huge in here. Genuinely, it feels huge. You know how when you sat in everything else, in game, I know these, yeah, when you sat in every other car in game, you feel as though you're in you've got a real, like, world scale interior of the car, but it's a green track. Let's just drive. You have to map one. So I need to invert the pedals. So, okay, that's something straight away. Need to invert pedals. The axes are all backwards. So you have to go into settings, go into camera, and in camera, right down the bottom, you've got recenter view, reset view. Yeah, reset view. And bind it to that. Okay, so pedals. Not looking for camera, looking for car. Okay, so how do I invert it? Properties? How do I invert it? Okay, hold on. Properties. Oh, there we go. Invert axes, brakes, properties, invert axes, clutch, invert axes, apply. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do a proper session at some point. But right now, okay, so is that just because the wheel's not centered? Is that what that was? Yeah, okay. So it's not set in this, it hasn't set the steering lock, so I've probably missed something. So it's not stopping once it gets, it's not automatically stopping once it gets to the edge. So I can continue turning the wheel, but I'm obviously beyond center. I'm not going to make any judgments on sound or anything like that. Graphically, I probably still need to tweak it a bit. So I won't make definitive judgments on it. Yeah, I imagine there is. I'll have to look for it. So right now, I can't make judgments because I've just jumped straight in and I haven't gone and tweaked settings and stuff. We've set the video settings to high. Haven't set them to ultra. it's nice seeing all of the animated people wandering around. I can still see that there's a weird effect. So I think it's like it's the glass, but can you see there? So if I hold it here, some of those people are now black silhouettes. Now they're there. Now they're black silhouettes. Now they're half black silhouettes. So there's some weird stuff going on. And when I do that, I can see a lot of aliasing. So I've got to do a lot of tweaking with the graphic settings and see what we can do to get rid of all of those. You can see the shadows as well in the car. I need to do a lot of work with the settings. Yeah. Very. The clutch isn't doing anything at the moment, so I don't know if that's because of one of the settings or what. I'm holding the clutch in, whether it's foot clutch or on the wheel, and it's still driving. But I had that in AC anyway, so that's definitely going to be a setting. I know it's a completely different graphics engine to the previous two games, but color palette wise, it's giving me ACC vibes at the moment. Yeah, it's probably, you're right, it's probably shadows. I'm gonna go straight off. So I've got the wheelbase settings set to the recommended settings from QNOS, including force feedback strength. And at the moment, it's very light. It's probably possibly the car, but it's very, very, very light. So I'm probably gonna need to tweak those two. I know. But it's very, very light. So when you get it, if you get it, and you go to the Evo webpage, they've got recommended default or reference, they're calling them, settings for your wheelbase force feedback settings. And that's what I've got these at the moment. I'm definitely going to change them. Like you said, I do have to take into consideration, I should say, the fact that this is a road car. It's not, as you said, a GT3. Got a lot of aliasing. I can see the clouds are trying to do something fancy, but it looks like I'm in a Harry Potter film. It's like volumetric clouds are forming and deforming, and they're doing some kind of WandaVision thing. So there's definitely a lot of work I've got to do to make sure that what I'm seeing, the visual artifacts I'm seeing, aren't settings related rather than early access related. But to say plug and play, start the game up, set it at high graphics settings, not going in and doing any other tweaking, it's definitely not polished. version 1.0 of the game. It 100% is early access. Yeah, can you see it? I wasn't sure if you could see it. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could see it the same way I could. It was hard to describe what they were doing. But they are, right? They're like proper... See, now that you've said, as soon as you've said it, they're behaving. Now it looks like it's perfectly fine. It's almost as though it was like, can you please do at least one lap so that the skybox can do its thing and load in. I'm going off in. And load in all of the clouds and everything. And now they're behaving themselves. But yeah, it definitely, so the signage, the grass, the stadiums and everything, the colours look very, 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 very much like they do in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And I know it's a completely new game engine, and they're not using Unreal 4. They are really light. It's I looked at them and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep those, but rather than me making assumptions and setting the way that I think I'd want to set my wheel, I thought it was better to at least start with their reference settings to see how that feels, and at least to have a baseline. And I definitely am not going to remain using them. Cool. See you later. Have a good one. Yeah, I definitely will be changing these force feedback settings. They're really light. I'm also going to change the graphic settings, because even though these are set to high, it doesn't look polished. And I don't know if that's just because they never will, or if it's just because they haven't actually taken... Yeah, if they haven't taken effect, even though I've applied them. I wonder if I need to restart the game for them to actually take effect. It feels like driving a production car though. So the way the car is soft on its suspension, when you brake and the weight shifts, it's got that effect of the weight shifting asymmetrically. It's not just a case of it squatting the front and squatting the rear in unison. There's that you can feel the weight dynamically moving around. Front to left, left to right. The car's already soft, and I'm assuming it started raining because we've got water streaming up the windscreen, but I don't see any rain. Yeah, look, it's definitely raining. I don't see any falling from the sky. Let's see if I can actually drive this thing properly now. You can hear the rain. See the rain on the windscreen. But I don't see any raindrops ahead of us, to the side of us. I'm going to see what happens if I crank the graphics up to ultra. See what I mean about the car really moving around? Whoa. Really moving around and braking. Cabin really feels huge. Hey JK, I know. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but thus far, the game hasn't crashed yet. Hasn't crashed the desktop. The VR has just worked. Load the game. You've got the same options in Steam that you have where it's either load the game standard 2D, or where it normally would say load in Steam VR, it says load OpenXR, so you can load the game straight away in VR. No messing around, no typing in game modifier. I'm going to go off. It just works. Just like when you load up ACC or load up AC1, just works. So that's a big tick. And inside the car, graphically, everything looks clean. So again, not like in ACC. So the dashboard looks really clean, easy to read. The aliasing issues outside the cockpit, I don't see in the cockpit other than the shadow issues. Okay, so let's try that. Let's see what happens if I change it to Ultra. See if it fixes that. It probably won't. I'm going to have to come out of the track, exit to the main menu, try again. So you can still see that weird there. So if it is shadows, let's see if we can do something with shadows to sort that out. So settings, video, graphics. Let's go Ultra. Let's see, there must be something we can turn off. So let's try that first and then see what in here we can try turning off to see if it fixes that. So let's hit apply. So still there, see it? I don't know if you can see that. And at the bottom of it, I don't know if you can see the aliasing is intense. So let's go on track. Same car, same track, same conditions. See if it looks any different. I'm sure I'm going to have to do a restart of the game to see if that fixes it. See if it does its crazy sky thing again. Wing mirror quality still doesn't look like it's at ultra. There's still significant aliasing at the edge of the track. Inside the car, I don't see any discernible issues. Yeah, you can still see the shadows having a bit of an issue in the trees. I really would increase the force feedback strength from what they have as the reference setting. That's really low. Although I suppose the reference setting in their force feedback settings are based on the 7 Newton meter. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so at least it's not just me, and it's definitely I don't think it's anything to do with the headset. It's definitely in game. So you can hear as we go through pitch straight, the reverb kicking in. You can feel the detail of the force feedback. Yeah, definitely. You can feel when you go over the sawteeth of the curves, that coming through the wheel. Okay, the clouds are up to something interesting again. I just got distracted. It looked like the clouds in the distance and the clouds in the foreground are going in opposite directions. So let's see if it sorts itself out after a lap. It does remind me of taking out the production cars in AC1 when I first played it. The way that it felt like you had tyres that had tall sidewalls. It felt like they were compressing under load. Yeah, this is definitely 100% early access. We have work to do. Come along for the ride as we develop it. 100%. It's not like they've released it and it's version 0.9997 and they just have to tweak a couple of features and then it's good to go. They weren't underselling it. This is definitely early access, come on the ride. It feels now like we have low cloud, ground fog rolling in. And I don't know if that's impending rain that's going to be following it. But this is a really nice effect. There you go, see? That was really nice. Let's see if rain follows. Yep, definitely. I'm trying to remember now what it looked like in all of the promo footage. all of the in-game game engine footage, and when they had the content creators reviewing it, when they had the demos. I'm trying to see if I can recall how good it did or did not look. But right now, 100, as we go into this bridge and as we approach the others, they look just like they look in ACC. Okay, again, so here's the rain. I still don't see rain falling though. But you can hear it, you can see it on the windscreen. Okay, I think I see some raindrops now. Yeah, I do see raindrops now. I think, are they in the car? I'm trying to see, they look, for a second it looked like it was doing what Le Mans Ultimate did, where the rain was in the car. Sorry, I didn't catch the last message. Someone said that they just tried it in VR and it was awful. I'm not getting any performance issues that I know of. I genuinely can't say I'm seeing any issues. There's no lag when I'm looking left and right. Whereas when I first tried Le Mans Ultimate, when I first tried it with the Plus VR modifier, there was that lag where you could look left and right, but the screen was like a second behind you and it was very stop motion. This is very smooth. This is no difference to being in AC1. What headset have you got, if you don't mind me asking? And specs, what graphics card, PC, or CPU I should say, sorry. I've now cranked this up to going off to the ultra graphic settings. We still have the shadows doing some weird shit. But in the cabin of the car, other than that, it does look clean. And it doesn't look overly fake. So the door panels and the dash okay. And sorry, which graphics card did you say you've got? Because I don't have much more than you've got. Sorry, you said the 4070, didn't you? Apologies, you said the 4070. Well, I've got the 4090, the 5900. I do have 64. Okay, I'm going off. I do have 64 megabytes of RAM. But that's about, yeah, so I don't have a huge amount more GPU than you. So what have you got? I've got 24 gig GPUs down the track. What have you got? Is it 12? Okay, yeah, maybe it is a restart then. So it's not RAM, CPU, I think yours is better. GPU, I've got 24 gig on the GPU. Actually, do you know what? I'm using Open Composite, OpenXR. 16 gig. You should, yeah, I see. I'm streaming as well, so I'm using even more of my GPU. I'm streaming and recording it. Okay, so let me try and stay on the track now because I'm trying to think and drive. Yeah, so I have Open Composite And I know, so, and when I started it, the OpenXR menu was up, so I know it's kicked in. No, so I literally, I'm using OpenXR 2. When I started, it had the menu. Sorry, let me concentrate on what you just said. Sorry, say that last bit again. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, I missed the thing you said before. Yeah, me too. I still don't see the rain, so the track's wet. Okay, now I can see the rain. And I do think the rain is falling inside the window. But that might be placebo. I like the way the low-hanging cloud is. Okay. Yeah, so maybe a restart will sort it for you. Yeah, I got the same. So everything you've said, I got as well. The only thing that has been weird or janky has been the shadows and when the game loads or when I go back to the game lobby. Yeah, it looks a bit weird. So the rain on the window, the side windows, I'm gonna say I'm not impressed. I think it's better in Le Mans Ultimate. I don't want to do comparisons, but it looks like you've got it doesn't look like it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It looks kind of disconnected. It looks like you've got the bigger raindrops that are running across the window, and the smaller raindrops look like they're doing their own thing, like they're 3 different effects doing their own thing on a loop, but there's no continuity between it. It doesn't come together to make you think, yeah, that's because it's raining and that's what the rain's doing on the window. It looks like this is just a special effect. 3 special effects going at the same time, almost like stop motion, similar to what's happening on the front windscreen. That doesn't really come together at the moment, but that's cosmetics. I'm sure that they can work on that, because the rain effects in AC1 are amazing. I don't know if that's default AC1 or if that's because of the custom shaders patch, but the rain effects in AC1 compared to these rain effects, night and day. And I know it's a different engine, but I'm going off. I know it's a different engine, but the AC1 rain effects with custom shaders patch is at the moment 100 times better than this. So hopefully QNOS can bring this up to the level that we've got an AC1 with CSP. Otherwise that might be somewhat awkward. Let me see if I can actually drive this thing and see what it feels like. Stay on the track and try and drive it properly. Circuit quality is excellent. I don't know if that's just because I'm overdriving or if it's because the track's slippery, but I didn't stand a chance of staying on there for a while. Let's try again. I never do well in the standard road cars in Assetto Corsa. I'm so used to driving the GT cars with their downforce and grip. But we've been going for how long now? Half an hour? And again, it hasn't crashed. That's a win in my book. I really want to change the force feedback. Okay, so let's try somewhere else. I do like I like the weather effects. I don't like the rain at the moment. Now that I've stopped, I can see that the rain is falling outside, but again, it doesn't look good. It looks like just raindrops just dropping vertically. I can't yet see any effects as they hit the tarmac, but that might just be me, but it doesn't appear to be physically hitting the tarmac. And you can see what I mean by the window, right? The raindrops hitting the window and then disappearing make no sense. There's no reason for them to disappear. They should be doing this, the rivulets of water going down the window, but they're just evaporating instantly. But anyway, let's try another track, try another car. Let's see if that randomly changes any of the visual effects we're seeing. So let's change the car. Hey, Mark. Yeah, because, yeah. Especially when, without disparaging anybody, especially when you think if you've had early access to it and you're reviewing it, how biased could you unintentionally be because you've had early access to it? This is the, if I've just bought it, I have just bought it, paid for it, installed it, want to play it, what's your initial impressions? And if I didn't know this was early access, I mean, look, you can see that, right? If you weren't here earlier. Actually, let me know if you can see that. Can you see that shadow? As though it's just a piece of plastic being put in front of my eyes. And I don't know if you can see the bottom edge of it, where the aliasing is just extreme. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, at the moment, at the moment, I would say that the experience is similar to if you bought WRC and it came without the VR effect and without the VR support, and then they introduced VR support, and then you got into it for the first time and you thought this feels a little bit weird. That's how it feels. Yeah, that's how it feels. It feels like that. It feels as though, even though we know that VR was incorporated from the start and VR is supposed to be there as a feature from the start, this experience feels more like a retrospective injection of VR into the game after it was already designed and initially developed. I would also want to get rid of the HUD. And the HUD, this I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not. I don't want to just throw around the word controversial for no reason. But is it just me, or does this HUD look more like the Le Mans Ultimate HUD? And I'm not saying it's a copy or anything like that. That isn't the point I'm trying to make. But looks more like that HUD than the AC1 HUD. And I kind of liked the AC1 HUD. The AC1 HUD was unobtrusive. It didn't get in your way. It didn't interfere. Whereas this looks quite this is quite in your face. It's not a bad thing. It's just less discreet. And it's definitely... Is it? Yeah, it's definitely a VR HUD. It's not just a 2D HUD that we're seeing in VR. Or is it? Because it does slightly move. Okay, that's random, Mark. People didn't want to see that. So let's try this. Again, if you look at the quality, just the textures of the wall and the color, it is so ACC. And again, that's not a bad thing. It's as though you've got the same art team working on it, and they like those colors, and so they're using those colors. They like those textures, so they're using those textures. And new engine or no, or old engine, doesn't matter. That's their philosophy, that's their approach, that's what they're going to do. It does look authentic though. So Brands Hatch is actually a track I've been to. I haven't been around it, but it's a track I've been to watch some of the historic racing events take place. And on a cold spring or autumn day in the UK, more so spring, cold spring day, the colour looks good. The light does look authentic. The grass and the dirt at the edge of the track does look authentic. The trees, they do look really, really reminiscent of being at the track. However, looking out, it doesn't have that same "oh my god, is this real" effect that LMU does when we look at it in VR. In Le Mans Ultimate, when you look out the window in VR, it's so crisp and clear and clean. You have those moments where you are beguiled and fooled into thinking you're looking at something on TV that's in-car footage, or that you're actually in the car. It looks that real. This has a similar effect of this. The colours look real. Driving so badly. The colours look real. The lighting looks real. It's delivering in its own way an element of, this is so close to what I would expect in real life, but it's different. Le Mans Ultimate is crisper and cleaner. In the distance now, as I look, so I'll get around and start the lap again, and when we get up to the Druid's Hairpin and we look back down towards Paddock Hill Bend, there's definitely some blurriness on the horizon. And I don't get blurriness on the horizon in Le Mans Ultimate. I'm trying not to do a comparison completely. Up ahead, where it's got that hazy effect, where again it looks like we've got some either low cloud or haze, that looks really good. That does look really good. So they've definitely got the weather of the UK right, and the lighting effect of the weather in the UK They've got that right as well. I didn't expect a crash. Let me go back to the garage. They've got that right. I do like the colours. But it does look like I've just sat in the garage in ACC. All of this looks like being in the garage in ACC. So I'm going to pay attention to the horizon and see if the hazy effect is, or the blurry effect is, a resolution thing, or if it's the effect you would expect to see in real life if you had haze on the horizon where it does start to look a little bit diffused. Let's see if I can try and get the car around the track. I think what's not helping me is the force feedback settings are just too low for me. And because they're too low and subtle, I'm not feeling the car as it's rotating and over-rotating on me. I'm behind it, so I'm spinning out when I should really be correcting the slide, catching the spin. So if I just turned up the force feedback just a little bit, I'd notice it. What is nice is you can definitely feel the force feedback across the different corners of the car. So that same effect that you get in R Factor 2 where you brake, getting them on Ultimate as well, but definitely in R Factor 2 where you brake and you feel like the front left dip because you're approaching a corner that has either the camber of the road inducing the front left suspension to compress, or because it's a right hand turn and you're like here, right hand turn, weight shifting forwards. You can feel the weight shifting forwards and left, not just forwards. And that's nice. I'm trying to remember which game I was playing recently where it just felt like it was shifted forwards. Automobilista 2. So I don't want to start that fight again. But in Automobilista 2, I don't get this feeling. So going through here, loading the car up, even through the force feedback being really subtle and soft for me at the moment, it still feels right. The distribution of weight still feels right. Again here, turning in, the weight I could feel was moving to the front left corner. And here it's moving to the front left corner. And that's even just when applying the brake, not when applying a lot of steering lock. But yeah, it's still, the force feedback is just way too light. So the car, so it's actually, let me correct what I'm about to say. It's not that the car feels light, although it does feel light. It's almost as though it's got power steering, and the power steering is really strong. So it reminds me of when I drove my friend's Mercedes years ago, and I didn't like how much the force feedback, listen to me, how much the power steering, or is it power assisted steering? Power assisted steering, I didn't like how intrusive it was. The steering wheel just felt so light. It felt like I could steer the car with just my little fingers, no matter how fast we were going. weight transfer feels good. Feels like I could actually control that slide if I just had the force feedback up a little bit higher. So anyone with a bit more talent and who's paying a bit more attention, I think they could get in straight away and start drifting. So the rotation and the slip angle feels sensible. Again, whereas in Automobilista 2, I should say, if you turned in and tried to drift, the slip angle makes it feel like you could probably just back the car into the corner completely. Here, the car wants to understeer because it's front engined, but the slip angle feels right. Car feels so soft though. I really don't like this week FFB. But again, I'm trying to jinx it. I'm trying to make it the game go, oh, you want the game to crash to desktop. It hasn't crashed to desktop yet. So we've loaded it up. I loaded it up twice. I loaded it up once to get the sound channel changed so that it came through my wavelength sound application rather than just through the system channel. Loaded it up then to start the stream, and it's been going ever since. It hasn't crashed. So let's see if I can just increase the force feedback from here. Or if I need to go back to the main menu. The car, wheel, settings. So let's put the gain to 100. Probably the settings as well. Okay, apply that. And let's go back to the garage, try it again, and then we'll try another car, another track. I just want to keep trying different cars, different tracks, just to see graphically how they look, but also just to see how stable the game is. Okay, I forgot to test something. Okay, the whole car is here. Because I hate the way in EA games you look behind you and the rear of the car doesn't exist. The whole car's here. The quality of the internal materials does look good. And it's actually got the feel of this being weather faded like you'd get in a real car. So right there where you've got the air vent and the air vent control, and you can have the left hand side of it, it's got that look where someone's either brushed it or been cleaning it and it's scuffed it. It doesn't have this uniform plastic look that looks fake in some games. Similarly, oh my gosh, you know what? Fair play. Because even when you look at the multimedia display, you look to the left of where you've got the Bluetooth logo, on the corner, it's got that scuffed look. So it's really nice how they've, for the internals of the car, even the seat, so like at the edge of the seat where the back of your knee would be, it's got wear as well. The same with the gear stick. the gear stick's got wear from the palm of the hand. It's nice that they've put those aged effects in. But can you notice that as I move around in the car, how it kind of glitches a bit? It's almost as though it's losing tracking with the VR. So as I move here, it's like the gear stick. Did you see that? When it's almost like it recentered or reshifted, retracked, and the car moved about half a centimeter. So I don't know if that's just me, my light stations, my headset, but this doesn't happen in other games. And also that shadow effect thing, it's making it look like there's a vertical sync like tear across the top of the windscreen. But yeah, if I move too quickly, it's like there's a bit of lag. You can see also the anti-aliasing. So where the pit exit is, where you've got what would be the blue flag sign, where that marshal's walking backwards and forwards between us and him. You've got the white line going across the pit lane exit. You can see the shimmering aliasing effect there. So considering we've got the graphics crammed up to ultra, I'm sure I need to go and change one of the AA settings or something to try and get rid of it. So let's see if going to 100% gain, it definitely made a difference straight away. I could feel the car moving around on the suspension, but it now feels as though some of the forces are coming on and off, like a flick of a switch. I don't know if that was something I did. So as the car was going around Paddock Hill Bend, it was almost as though the suspension stopped compressing and just fully extended, almost as though there was like a stutter in the game and it lost that signal. I'm not getting it now. Now it feels fully connected. Okay, so I just tried to stop that oversteer by putting brake and throttle in, and it didn't stop it. But that might be because this is a front-wheel drive car. Force feedback still feels a bit light. I definitely need to work on that a lot more. But again, I do like the lighting effects because this looks like driving around in the UK. This looks like being at Brands Hatch. The front end of spring as we're coming out of winter. So it's nice and bright, but it's miserable, cold and wet. That's what this looks like. So it doesn't have that uber polished, slick, Simcasey look that you'd get in other games. It does have a nice, duller, more authentic effect. This does look, I'm going to say again, this does look realistic. Looking up on the bank, the colour of the trees, the grass, the dirt, the barriers, the bridges, all of that looks realistic. It looks like you could have it in the same conversation on colour and texture. You could have the same conversation that you have about Le Mans Ultimate, where you have those moments of, wow, that looks real. but it looks real and it looks different real. If you could get rid of the issues with the shadow, get rid of the issues with the aliasing, you could get it to have the same crisp and clean look that you do get in Le Mans Ultimate. You would only be picking which one you preferred based on your own personal preference. You couldn't really make an argument based on quality, because they have done a really good job. This looks so much better than ACC already for me, considering how hard it is to get VR to work in ACC without the game chugging along, even with just one car on the track. Considering how hard that is, and this is still early access, and they're definitely going to need to optimize a lot, and we're going to need to figure out what we need to tweak when it comes to our own personal preferences for graphics or what our systems can support. Considering we might not even have got this out today, because there's always that risk, right? This does look good. Fair play. Let's try somewhere else. Let's try Bathurst. I probably won't do it today, but over the course of the week, next week, I'll have to spend a lot of time playing with the force feedback to get it to be something that I like, and I'd need to do the same with the graphics to get them tuned in as well. Yeah, this is it, Josh. So you can see, right? If you can see on the screen right now, that shadow effect, that ugly, horrible effect, that's not working, whatever that is. So you need to get that sorted and turn it off. That's annoying as hell. And you can see it when looking at the car in the garage as well, that it's not perfect. So what have you got as a CPU, and what RAM do you have? Because I think it should, and also what headset have you got? But there are two things that I'll say. I'm going to make two assumptions anyway. One, I'm going to say it should, and two, I'm going to say you have the 2 hours refund window on Steam, don't you, to try it out for yourself, so that you don't have to be held hostage to someone else's random opinion on the internet. But I don't see why it shouldn't, and it works straight out of the box, Joshua. So as soon as you I think it should. So basically, as soon as you've got the game installed and you hit launch, you've got the option: do you want to just launch it in the normal 2D version, or do you want to launch it in OpenXR? Select the OpenXR, and that's it. VR's on. Yeah, so as soon as you load the game in OpenXR, you're in the game in VR. You don't have to do anything else. You have to then go into the settings and go into the camera settings and bind yourself a reset button, reset view, and then that's it. You've got your reset headset view, and VR is working. No other messing around. Okay, so the graphics here, we still have those shadow issues going on, still have the anti-aliasing issues going on. This is the first time where it looks like there might be some performance issues. Oops. Well, as long as you maximize the 2 hours actual in-game, because Steam likes to do that thing where it will count your 2 hours from the moment you load the game up. So I would say it's definitely better than ACC, because ACC, even single car on the track, I couldn't do what I've done just now. So I've just put the graphic settings to ultra, and it's not doing a stuttering stop motion mess. And this is the third track now. It looks a bit hazy in the distance, but I think that's more to do with the weather and the cloud rather than it is to do with resolution. The shadows you can see in the trees are flickering, so the shadows are a bit of a mess. But performance-wise, this is the first time where I'm starting to see that maybe there's a bit of a struggle. Yeah, this doesn't look terrible. So at the moment this is capped at 60 FPS, but that was just the default setting when loading the game up. Yeah, the shadows in the mirrors are like, I have no idea what's going on with them at the moment. But when you try it, it will feel familiar. When you look at the colours in game, you'll go, yeah, those are reminiscent of the colours that are in ACC. But quality-wise, as in the detail in the tracks, I think these are really good. It's the shadows, the anti-aliasing, all of that needs sorting out. And some of that might be I need to go and mess around with the settings. Some of it might be on me, I don't know yet. But even coming down here, Conrod, it looks good. So again, the grass looks good. The grass doesn't look like it's AstroTurf. The curves, they have an aged look to them as well. Yeah, I'm on a 4090, 64 gigabytes of RAM. I've got the AMD 5900 and BigScreen Beyond headset. But this does look good. It's like when you had a tracking R Factor 2 where it looked good, the grass looked good, the colour of the grass looked good, track detail looked good. It's like that. So like I was saying at Brands Hatch and for Imola, it doesn't have the same crisp, crystal clear feel that you have in them on Ultimate, but it has a good look and feel. Car feels very soft, very, very, very soft. So I'm not confident in my control over the car at the moment. I need to get the controls, tweaks and dialed in. I haven't figured out yet if anything has to do with tyre temps, or if it is literally just because I'm not getting consistent feedback from the force feedback. And it's not that it's coming in and out, it's that it's not either strong enough Yeah, and that's the other thing I need to take into consideration. Based on my system, my headset, LMU looks so crystal clear, it's unbelievably clean. So the windscreen looks like windscreen, but it looks like you've got a really clean windscreen until it starts getting to build up on it. So at times it can look like they haven't even bothered rendering windscreen until you see the smears. That's what I'm struggling with at the moment, Josh. It's because what I've done is I've taken their default settings. I don't have a smile on my face yet. But it's probably more so because I have, if you could see my face, you could see that I'm kind of deep in thought. I'm trying to understand what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing, but I'm not disappointed. So what I would say is I'm not going to say that the force feedback is more detailed than ACC yet. I need to spend more time in it. What I will say is in ACC, let me change what I'm about to say. In ACC, it was in manners. It was in degrees, right? So coming to ACC from iRacing, I always felt wow. Compared to iRacing, it now feels like I'm actually in a car that has tyres. I can feel the tyre deformation. I can feel that the tyre has sidewall. I love that. I can feel that. What I wasn't in love with was how the car kind of felt like it was floating. And when you hit a curb or you got on the power, how it felt kind of like, depending on the car, it kind of felt like it was bricks on a cushion of air. But that was just me. I don't know if that was game or if that was just me. Whereas whenever you were playing Assetto Corsa in a road car, especially if you took a road car, I remember taking the BMW M3 around the Nordschleife for the first time in Assetto Corsa, and I absolutely loved the fact you could get opposite lock drifts going on round the apex, because it felt like you were in a real car. It felt like you were on road tyres, and the way that the suspension depressed, the way that the tyre all depressed as you turned in or you broke or you accelerated, the way that it deformed and loaded up just felt realistic. It felt real. It didn't feel like you were on bricks. That's how this feels. It feels like you're on tyres. It feels nice and soft. It doesn't feel like you're floating on a cushion of air. It feels like you're connected to the road surface, but that you're on road tyres and road suspension. And that you're in a Ford Escort, or that you were in a Volkswagen Golf. It feels real. My issue at the moment though is it feels like I'm in any one of those cars with power assisted steering that's dialed right up. So it's taking all of the work of actually putting torque into the steering rack and transmitting that through the tyres to get the tyres to rotate. It feels like the steering's doing more of that work than I am. So it depends what you've driven in real life. But for me, my comparisons were, my first car was a BMW 3 Series E30. So it had power steering, but I could feel I was driving a heavy car. To go from that into my friend's Mercedes, now what did they have? Was it a CLK? Can't remember. But to get into that afterwards, their car felt like I could literally steer it with just the palm of my hand or my little finger. The power assisted steering was doing all the work, and that was at low speed. So you know when it comes and it kicks in at low speed to help with your parallel parking, all sorts, it felt like it was like that all the time. So I didn't trust it. I didn't trust that car when it was raining. I didn't trust it when it was cold, because I thought I'd just turn it. Is that where it is? So I need to double check it and see what. Oh, I don't like that. I need to double check it and see what it's set to, because it could well be that. And that's what I mean by, it's not that I don't like the force feedback. I can't comment, because I don't know what settings I need to go and tweak and change, so that I feel 100% in control all the time. Let me have a look, actually. I didn't look in the game settings to see if... I think I've got all of those things turned off. Let me go back to the menu. I think I turned all of those off. But there could be something on because I jumped in. So, where are we? Settings. Gameplay. So, I also don't like the huddle being on, but let's leave that for now. So it's not in gameplay. Controls in here. Not in here. Where did I find them? Was it? Okay, thank you. So let's see. Steering, properties. Good luck, Joshua. So it's probably one of these, right? Because this is what they have as the defaults. Let's take this and put it to 0. Put it to 0. Because I deliberately just went with these are our recommended settings for each wheel. Use these as your reference, so that I at least was giving feedback or getting my very first impressions based on their baseline, rather than me jumping in straight away, tweaking randomly with settings without knowing what I'm doing, and then giving a skewed set of feedback. So let's go with, now we're going to start tweaking stuff to see if we can get it to feel right. There's still, can you see that? Can you see how sitting in the car with the menu up, it's like there's input lag from the headset. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's like it's not tracking. I don't know if that's just because we're sat behind the menus. Let's get rid of the menu and see if that goes. Yeah, potentially that's to do with being behind the menu. Maybe. Maybe. I'm going to get rid of this HUD. Annoying me. I also need to find the option where the clutch actually... There you go, so the clutch actually works. I've noticed in AC, the cars that have automatic gearboxes, even if you... I was going to say if you put in the clutch, ignore what I was about to say. I was going to say, even when you put in the clutch on your wheel, it doesn't pay any attention, but of course it doesn't. Because you don't have a clutch mark in it. Okay, so let's see now if I try and actually do a lap. Ignore graphics and stuff for now. I'm going to go with... Did that steering assist waiting. Get rid of that. Sense in the steering where I didn't feel 100% tuned into the force feedback. But it's probably going to be in there somewhere, right? In the damping or something like that. But I normally have those off. Okay, so far it's still there. So I'm going to try and describe it. So at the moment, it's not what I'm feeling, it's what I'm not feeling. So at the moment, I'm not feeling all four corners of the car all the time. So right now, when I turn in, Yeah, so when I turned in, I couldn't feel the front. Now, I don't know if that's cold tyres, so I should have probably been a little bit more careful and got round a lap first. But there are moments where, say, the car's loaded up and I can feel the weight at all four corners, and then moments where it seems like it just turns off. I can't feel the weight. And I don't know if that's tyres, if that's the force feedback, if that's me, if it's just because I'm in a production car. I don't know. You can, if you weren't here earlier, you see how the clouds are doing craziness at the moment. They're going in different directions. It's like the end of the world is coming. That should sort itself out in about a lap or two. So who knows what that is. So the tyres look green. They don't look like they're cold, as per the HUD. So I can feel... Can I feel it? Can't feel the front left at the moment. It doesn't feel like it's taking the weight at the moment. Still doesn't feel like it's taking any weight. Let's see the front right. Nope, front right doesn't feel like it's taking any weight. Feels like the weight's at the back of the car. No. So let's see if that's just cold tyres. Let's wait for it to warm up. So I can feel the weight through here. So I don't know if it's just the car, the tyres on the car, the track is probably green. I don't know if it's because of the speed. So maybe there's not enough G going through the car to really feel it. So I can feel it in the steering getting heavier. Okay, there. So now I can feel the weight shift. And I can feel the weight of the rear coming around, and it's shifting across the front axes. So I don't know if it's speed dependent, and that's why I'm not feeling it. Maybe I'm just not feeling it in the low speed corners. But there, see, under acceleration, steering with understeer, I didn't feel the front right loaded up. So the rear brakes are cold. Front brakes are cold now. It's raining again, but it doesn't look like it's raining outside. Yes. I'm gonna. You're literally reading my mind, because I was thinking it could just well be that because this is the production cars, and the reason I went silent is because I was thinking along those same lines. Is it just because it's production cars? They've got that soft road going suspension geometry, and because I don't spend a lot of time in them, I was trying to remember. Okay, what does it feel like when you're driving these cars in AC1? What does it feel like when driving them in, say, Automobilist 2 or R-Factor? Hell, what does it feel like driving them in Forza? And there was a reason I didn't like driving them in there. The only time I've ever driven a production car in the game, I thought I really enjoy this, was, like I said, that BMW 3 Series in Assetto Corsa 1. So yeah, let's see if I can find a car to race here. Okay, away. So yeah, let's see if I can get into a racer car. So we've still got that thing happening, right? Look at the windscreen. Look how heavy it looks. It's raining on the windscreen. The rain effects just don't look good to me. I've been spoiled now by what we've got in Le Mans Ultimate and what we've got in Assetto Corsa 1 with Custom Shaders Patch, which is just unbelievably good. This right now doesn't look great. Yeah, so right now, what I will say is it does have a nice sense of the weight moving around on braking. Okay, I wonder what that is. So yeah, let me see if I can find a racier car, but right now I still, for what this is, I think it was £26 something the early access price was. £26, it's fine. It might be that some hotfix needs to come out and there's some optimization they need to do or some weird crap. No. So I've got the 5900. My CPU is about 2-3 years old. 2 years old, I think. What year are we in now? 2024. So I don't have an X3D one. It's the previous generation CPU. Okay, so this isn't horrible. And the car is definitely more reminiscent of driving road cars in AC1. Ah, okay. So, with the rain on the windscreen, the rain on the track and how dark the track's got already, and the rain you actually see falling in the sky, the three of them don't appear to be connected. Now, I don't know if that's just because this is an 8 to 9 minute session, and it's got dynamic weather, and it's doing it at some, I don't know, time-bound ratio, but look how quickly it's got to dark grey skies, dark wet track. We don't have pools of water yet, but you can't see raindrops falling, and I don't see splashes of raindrops on the road yet. But back to the way this feels. This feels fine, driving a road car. It might just be me though, Emil. It might just be me though, but can you see what I mean? If you look at the rain on the driver's window, that's not finished. That's not implemented well yet. The rain on the windscreen, that's not implemented well yet. The track, as a wet track that doesn't yet have standing water, the quality of the track does look amazing. You can see where there's rubber on the track, and it doesn't look like an artificial or caricature of a driving line. You can see where cars have been driving along it. It looks real. It looks realistic, I should say. It looks like driving around on a road where the tarmac's nice and uniform. You don't have lots of repairs that have been made to the road, so the tarmac across the length and breadth of the track is uniform, but you can still see how it's now saturated with water, so it's got darker, it's not got that sun bleached greyness about it. And then you can see excuse me, at the edge of the track or the crown of the track where they put the seam in with the bitumen, you can see it. It looks really good. And I hadn't thought about it, but now looking at the grass and the dirt at the side of the track, excuse me, sorry, I'm probably imagining it, it's probably placebo, but I swear it's a little darker too, as though it's a little bit saturated with the rain, but I could just be making it up. That felt good. So that, I'm going to go all the way around, I know I am, but that felt again like being in Assetto Corsa in a road car trying to carry speed through a high speed sequence of turns. So let's say Nordschleifer again, and you can feel the weight shift. You can feel that as you're braking, the rear axle has less weight, the front has more, but equally you've got that lateral shifting of weight. And because the suspension in a road car is so soft, it's oscillating. You can feel all of that under braking. So because I'm not being really careful applying and coming off the brake, I'm not managing that transfer smoothly. The car jostled around. That was really good. Obviously not how I'm driving, but what was translated, that was really good. Okay, so let me see if I do have access to a more high performance car. I don't think I do, not yet, not without actually setting up my profile and then starting in the driver academy. So I can't get a rental yet because I haven't got a profile. I mean, I'm offline. I don't know why it won't connect online. It's probably because I haven't got my profile set up yet. But we don't have anything high performance. So let me see if I can set up my profile, if that will allow us to go online, and if that will allow us to then get a more powerful car. No, I'm not going to say it's miles better than AC1 yet. Don't put those words into my mouth yet, Emil. The jury is out on so much, but it reminds me more of AC1 than Assetto Corsa Competizione. It drives like AC1, not like Assetto Corsa Competizione. Yeah, I don't know what I think. What I think about that either. That whole. Yeah, I don't know what I think about the. I like the idea of the persistence. So I do like the idea of you being able to get a car and it ages with you, and its mileage and damage and aging. I like that part. Being able to buy cars, maintain them. No, I don't want to exit the game. I'm not too sure. That's probably fine as well, maybe. But it feels like it's taking on that element of Forza Horizons or something like that, where you're role-playing, doesn't it? Okay, so let's see. Academy. No, can't do that. Where did it was in settings, wasn't it? So settings. See if I can turn online now. But online, apply. Is it going to allow me to? Oops. Let's see. Let's see. It didn't like it last time. But that might have been because I didn't have... No. It won't connect to game servers. So I don't know if that's an early access thing, if they're not available yet. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has been able to connect to them yet. But every time I've tried it, it's done that and then said can't connect to game servers. And I don't know. I don't see on my desktop a firewall permissions request. So for now, I'm going to assume it's just can't do that yet. That's my assumption for now. So let's see if there's anything else I could do. I can't get in here. It's just these are early access game cars. Yeah, multiplayer I know definitely doesn't work, but I don't know if the online offline is multiplayer or is more the yeah, it would be if they did all of that. But yeah, what I was looking to see, Emil, was whether or not not so much online for multiplayer lobbies, but if there was any element of you needed to be connected to their servers to get more access or more options, and I don't think that's the case. I think this is it. We knew that these were the cars that it was going to launch with, but it looks like you can't connect either to the servers. So at least that means, just like AC, you don't need to be online to do what we're doing right now, but it does mean that you don't, at the moment in early access, have access to any other game modes. Let's just make sure. Other than, okay, single player, so no special events, didn't expect that. And in single player, it's practice. What else can you do? You do quick race. Okay, so let's embarrass ourselves. So quick race, 10 laps, grid type, automatic, grid position, let's start 6, number of opponents. Okay, this will tell us now what the cost of putting it on ultra graphics settings will be. So let's start at break the game. Let's go 29. Opponent skill. Let's put them at 100%. Let's just do it. Let's be really, really, really embarrassing. Single make, turn it off. Apply that. And Brands Hatch. Yeah, let's go Brands Hatch. And then we can change track height afterwards. And let's go back for the... Okay, I haven't even driven it, but let's jump into the Mazda. Or Honda, you'd call it, actually. Let's jump in. And let's really embarrass ourselves. Okay. Yep, we're going with that. Excuse me. So 10 laps, Brands Hatch. Oh, let's put the opponent's at 97. I thought I'll put 100. 29 cars, ultra graphic settings, VR. Let's see if this is when we crash to desktop. I definitely want to get rid of that damned HUD. So first thing, I don't think I'm impressed at the moment with the quality of the AI cars visually. And they seem to be running on rails. And either they've all crashed behind me, or they've disappeared into the twilight zone. So I don't see anything in our mirrors. And apparently there's at least 20 cars back there. So I can see shadows. So I can see... Can you see them? You can't see the shadows under the cars. So I can't see them here. But I can see shadows now. But are they actual contact shadows or just the chassis? Who knows? But they're just running on rail on tracks. Whoa. I'm still not happy with the force feedback settings. I hate the HUD. That's it. I'm gonna be a little bit more explicit. I really don't like the HUD. Compared to what we had in AC1, it looks more cartoonish. Okay, I hit that guy in front. It didn't feel like a big hit. Okay, I think the problem is vehicles aren't showing up in the mirrors. There should be a car right behind us. Whoa. I should be clutching on my gear shifts. No, I'm not. Okay, let me do that again, because those reflections look okay. But considering they're at 97%, they're just way too easy. Hold on a second, I just realised. The right mirror isn't even on. That what about? Okay, now I can see a car behind us. What's going on here? So that one car now we can see in our rear view mirror. And in our driver's side mirror. The passenger mirror is off. Now the car behind us has disappeared. So how far behind is it? Half a second? I don't know if it's dynamically doing anything with the draw distance in the mirrors or the number of cars on track. I can't remember what options there were in the graphic settings. But with 29 cars that should be being drawn in this session, it hasn't crashed. It's obviously not drawing everything though, because that right mirror denotes that it's not drawing everything, and the fat cars are disappearing behind us in the mirrors. it's definitely not drawing everything behind us. Let's click on the downshifts, sort out the rear axle locking. Still not happy with the force feedback. Still way too light for me. I need to ignore what they suggested for the wheelbase settings, and in the wheelbase profiler turn up the gain. And they're easy, considering this is supposed to be 97%. That was my fault, even after I reminded myself about using the clutch. Okay, so here are all the other cars. So they're definitely here. They're definitely on the track. They haven't just disappeared. So again, can't remember now. I don't even know what time it is, so I don't know how long this stream's been up. But we've only had to load the game once at the start of the stream. We've been in and out of sessions. We've applied graphics changes, controller changes, changed track, changed multiple sessions. It hasn't crashed once. The menus have all worked. There hasn't been any lag in the menus. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the graphics and see if there's something in there that's turning stuff off to manage it. Let's see if it's even retained the change and left it at ultra. The settings, video. But I think that's because it's native. I haven't changed anything. This is just loading it in. So it's doing native resolution, whereas in Le Mans Ultimate, I think have I dropped that? Have I left it at native? I can't remember. 60 frames capped, but let's change that. Vertical syncs off, full screen, triple screen. Apply that. And it's also because we put it to ultra. We set it to ultra to test it. I don't know if it's actually kept those settings. I don't think it's retained. No, it has. So we haven't gone in and tweaked anything. So if we changed it to preset high, what does that do? What's it actually set? No upscaling. Multi-sampling, anti-aliasing 2, level of detail to high, vehicle level of detail to high, shadows, high, environment densities high, post-processing yeah, at the moment mirrors capture. What's this? Dynamic? Okay, fixed. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, Same for me, Mark. At the moment, other than just seeing how well it works and runs, how stable it is, what it feels like, if you can get the force feedback dialed in, if you can get the graphics dialed in, how it compares to Assetto Corsa 1. Other than that, which is a lot, these aren't the cars. These aren't the cars I would ever drive in Assetto Corsa 1. I just wouldn't spend any time in them. I would only spend time in them if I was doing some sort of comparison. If in this list of cars they had any car I'd owned in real life and I wanted to just see how it drove in the game compared to how it drove in real life, if it weren't for that, I wouldn't drive them either. So I wouldn't be driving any of these. So until there are more cars available, I won't be spending a lot of time in it either. No, I wouldn't be spending a lot of time in... Oh, hold on. I can zoom in, zoom out. Didn't realize that. Mouse scroll. Yeah, so I would be the same. The Academy can't use yet. I presume we need to be online, connected to the servers or something like that. Special events, the same. So I think, though, what's really important to bear in mind is it is what they said. See, the only reason, Mark, I would try the road car in the game, because I tried to find my road cars in AC1 as well. The only reason would be just as that experiment of, okay, I know exactly how it felt in real life, and I can then be my own arbiter for how well it does or doesn't feel in game compared to real life. And all of those arguments that other people would present to you of, yeah, but how would you know? You've never driven a GT3 car, you've never driven X, Y, and Z. I'd be able to go, I've driven this, I've owned this, I've driven this, I've got X thousand miles on this. That's the only reason. That would be the only reason. So let's try Suzuka. But that's the only reason. And that's the only reason. And if I wasn't doing it to create content to put on YouTube to get other people's opinions, if it was just me, I still wouldn't do that. I would only do it for content. Just for that debate. I say debate, it's not really a debate, it's just for that affirmation, isn't it? Because we all... Okay, why isn't it picking up the mouse? Oh, okay. So we all have our own opinions on... this wasn't supposed to be Laguna Seca. I hate this track. We all have our own opinions on how well we do or don't think games are doing when it comes to realism. But everybody gets to have their opinion, and people can discount your opinion. Okay, whoa, that guy just gave me a nudge in the rear. But if you've got your own real life experience, all of a sudden you could then go, that's my baseline, and now my own opinion on how well the game has or hasn't done is valid. So the right mirror is still off. I'm going to have to bind a button for cycling the mirrors because it's just off. Wow, okay, so that's interesting. He's got a puncture. I'm going to slow down and let him pass us back again. We'll start the race again, but I want to see that. I don't know what happens. But that was interesting. Where is he? Where's he gone? Come on, pass us. I need to know if I was imagining it, if that was a puncture, or if it was just... Okay, I would like to go and see, but we just got turned. I want to see whether that's a puncture, or if I just imagined it. Did I imagine it, or did you see that? Has he gone off the track? gonna get disqualified. I might have imagined it, but it looked like that car was right rear axle down. Oh, it's gone. I'll have to watch the stream back afterwards. Okay, let's start again. Restart. Truly hate this track. Apologies to everybody who loves it. Okay, so the steering feels heavier. Okay, there's another. Okay, I didn't get any flags at all. So I can see green flags. It's on the light panel, so there you go. Green flags. But I didn't get any warnings for driving the wrong way. Okay, I can definitely feel that this is a much heavier car. Okay, you know how the AI was just like following each other nose to tail on rail tracks at Brands Hatch? This lot are mental. I have no idea what's happened to this lot. They're taking no prisoners. They're crazy. They're just... What are they doing? They're just... Okay, so I'm getting a Mustang. Well, they had two completely different mentalities. So what they were driving, what were they driving? They were driving a Chevrolet. I don't have that, do I? What were they in? Okay, so that's interesting. Because of the number of cars and because we don't have it set to a fixed closed series, it looks like the game is using more of the cars that are going to be available than we can drive right now. Okay, let's try that again. That was literally mental. They were so much more aggressive than the Mazdas. Hondas. Okay, try this again. Let's see, they definitely aren't available for us to select yet. Neither's this. Oh, pay attention, pay attention. I have no idea. Whoa! Punted. Whoa. They are... Whoa! Okay, so what do you think of the AI, everybody? Because this doesn't look like anything I saw when all of the big content creators were sharing behind the scenes footage from ADAC Expo. See you later, R-Blast. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, who else watched at least one or two of those streams or the official QNOS stuff and saw people racing? I didn't see this behaviour. This is whoa. This is worse. I've never seen this in real life. I was gonna make a joke about this being worse than rush hour on the M40, but I've never seen driving like this. I've seen people distracted, not paying attention, do really random stuff like take a late off ramp or change lanes without indicating, almost have an accident. But this lot driving like they're in Wreckfest. I think it's fair to say that AI still needs work. They're just using the car in front as a brake. Might have damage. See if we can recover. I am wondering if I have damage or if it's just placebo. City. The reverb does seem very ACC. It's very pronounced when you go down the pitch straight. Like the gain goes up on volume and everything. Like, why aren't we getting it here? We're between walls here as well. So why aren't we getting it here? But graphically, it's definitely better than ACC. Take the aliasing out of it. That sign up ahead looks much clearer at that distance than it does in ACC. At least for me and my combination of PC and headset. The Horizon, it's not so much that it looks blurry, it's got that hazy effect you'd expect on a hazy day, overcast day like this at the Horizon. Not sure about, did he just hit the pit wall? Or was it him? I'd need to spend a lot of time tweaking away at the graphic settings to find out which would make for a seamless experience in-game, but also just seamless stream or capture footage as well. Probably need to change. Okay, that car just disappeared in the mirror, so it's really got a short draw distance for anything in the mirror. It's literally like if it falls back 300 feet, it just disappears. I didn't see an explicit option for draw distance in mirrors. I'd need to check that out as well. And they've gone very conservative with their recommended force feedback settings. Wow, they broke much sooner than I was expecting. But do you hear that? You hear the reverb down the pitch straight. It's just like ACC. It gets really loud. It's nice, but it's really loud there. Not so much here. FFB running over the curbs is nice and subtle though, and it doesn't have that curb pull that we've got in Le Mans Ultimate. And R Factor 2, at least in R Factor 2, you can go in and dial it down. I haven't seen an option to do that in Le Mans Ultimate yet. It really drags the car into the curb. Just see how much louder it gets. It's like it's a requirement in all of the tracks. Hit straight, turn reverb up 25%. Driving like shit. Yeah, I can imagine them being loud as they go by the pit. So I can imagine you being pit lane or in the stands pit lane, and it being really loud as they go by. But it's whether or not they'd be loud as they went by you anywhere else. So again, I've only been to Brands Hatch, and wherever you went on track, as the cars came by you, they were loud. But I don't know what that sounds like in the car. So I know, obviously, going through an underpass or so we have like the Blackwall Tunnel and Dartford Tunnel, so they go under the River Thames. And when you go through those tunnels that either go under a section of the city or under a river, the reverb in there is so noticeable. And then when you come out, you don't have it. So it could well just be that it's realistic and accurate. It's just very pronounced. I wonder if this is just how soft the drive is in these cars. I've driven some higher cars, some Hyundais, and I've not liked the drive in them in real life because they felt really soft and the steering wheel felt plastic and that just doesn't seem to make sense, that inside the cabin of the car the reverb gets that much louder there, but then doesn't do the same thing. I'll get to a point on track where I think it should do the same thing. Okay. So like here, okay, I suppose that's more open. But yeah, I wonder if the softness in the drive is just right. And if so, I wouldn't like driving a Golf GTI in real life. I wonder. The clouds doing their crazy thing again. And I wonder if that on-off sense of information coming back from the tyres through the force feedback is a tyre temperature thing or slip. Could also be a front wheel drive thing and I'm just doing stupid things to the car. Okay, so here's how I can explain what it feels like. So I'm going to assume everybody has driven on low profile tyres in real life, various different types of car, and you know what that drive feels like, and then you get into a car that doesn't have low profile tyres. It's just got your standard steel rims rather than an alloy, low profile, and it just feels so much spongier. That's what it feels like. And so I know that that's a reality. You have that in real life, but that's what the feeling through the steering feels like. It's spongy and light. Spongy, light, as though the power assisted steering is cranked really, really high, because the manufacturer doesn't want the driving experience to be a fatiguing one for you. But because it's so high and the ride's so soft, you don't have that level of confidence in the car that you could push it. So if you was to take a high speed bend or a bend at high speed on a low profile tyre with power steering obviously, but not high levels of power assisted steering, you get a sensor through the seat of your pants and through the steering wheel. You get a sense of, I know exactly where the car is on the track, and I know how much grip I've got, and the car doesn't feel like it's got huge amounts of chassis roll. You've got a level of confidence, whereas you then get into a car that's probably more suited for the school commute, doesn't have low profile tyres, has much more roll. Going through a turn, you wouldn't take the same levels of speed because you would feel as though the car is going to either roll on you or it's just going to understeer off the track. That's what it feels like. So that, again, it could just be the actual car, but I think some of that is the force feedback settings they've recommended. Possibly for me, have too much damping, I don't usually use it. And I think that they've got maximum force. Yes, maximum force. The intensity of the force is at 70%, and normally I would have it at 50% for Le Mans Ultima and ACC, AC1, Automobilista 2. I would have it at 50, and I would have the in-game gain at about 80% or lower. So the settings for AC Evo are completely different, because now I can go over curbs and my wheel doesn't clatter like the axle in the wheel is clattering against ball bearings or something. Whereas in all of the other sims, with the intensity set as it is set right now, if I went over the curves, you would hear it. You'd hear it through the stream. You'd hear it clattering like metal on metal. So they've got some. They've definitely given us unique settings that are tailored to AC Evo. I just don't know if I like it. And again, you can see again if the rain. So if I pull up. The raindrops, so you can see the raindrops falling, but you don't see any interaction between them and the track. Maybe we would in the replay, but I don't see it here. And then the rain on the side window, I've said it before, but I don't like that. I'm sure that they'll improve on it. If they never improve on this, if this stays the same as this forever, I'll be disappointed. Front windscreen. So I think the wipe action as it is moving the water across the windscreen, that looks okay. But it's the same animation, isn't it? It's doing the same thing. Is it doing the same thing? Possibly. Possibly not. But the water hitting it, again, looks okay. But it looks better in AC1 and Custom Shaders patch. But this is early access day 1. So, finished 18th, who cares? They were mental. Let's try something somewhere else. I wonder if any of these graphics changes are actually taking effect, or if it needs to go to restart. But it definitely had 29 cars on track, and the game hasn't crashed. So it wasn't lying to us. Okay, so let's quit this. Let me see what time it is. Twenty to 7. Okay, let's try a few more things. And then I need to feed myself. And then I'll, over the weekend or the rest of the week, would need to go away, spend a little bit more time in it, tweak stuff. I already know the sorts of things I would want to go away and tweak. So Suzuka GP, let's try Suzuka GP. I already know the sorts of things I want to go and spend more time on. Force feedback, graphic settings, being the primary focus that I would want to go away and spend time on. Let me pick the Hyundai, I haven't driven that yet. And then also figure out what I need to do with the graphics so that the capture is clean and smooth, but equally the in-game experience is clean and smooth as well, because at the moment I'm not getting that. But for day one release, first of all, I was hoping that they would just get it out on time. So I don't know if anyone else was watching the Steam countdown, but it went beyond the time it was supposed to release by at least an hour. So I don't know what that was all about. And I'm also already of an opinion on the VR implementation. But the fact that it works out of the box, tick, that's good. But everyone can see it definitely needs some work. Okay, so now it does feel laggy. VR doesn't feel right. Just, I don't know if that's what we've just done. Coming to this track, 29 cars. We just got punted again. Can we save it? This grass looks good. Looks realistic. There's the VR. So here is the first time where in-game performance looks like it's really taking a hit, because it feels like there's a lag between me looking left and right and the in-game view perspective catching up. Whoa, we're getting bump drafted. They are mental. Still have the aliasing issues. We're still getting bump drafted. Fall back 3 car levels, they disappear in our mirrors again. Still got the same issues with that force feedback, where the front feels light, doesn't feel as though I can feel the front wheels on the track surface, but I can feel the weight of the car shifting under braking and through the high-speed turns. So it's not floating on air feeling, I just don't feel. Yeah. So what it probably is a combination of it being front-wheel drive, the force feedback settings, and the tyres. Because there, as soon as I broke with the camber of the road, it felt like the car took all of the weight front left, or at least that's the direction of transfer of weight, and that's what I would expect. And that's the kind of sensation you get in R Factor 2. The only difference being in R Factor 2, I would also expect to feel all 4 contact patches all the way through it, not just the weight transfer. Okay. The accidental Scandinavian flick didn't seem to have an immediate impact on the car. There was... Yeah, let's try this again. This is weird. This is interesting. I don't know whether what the disconnect is. The disconnect could also be performance related. So no, in LMU, when people join the session, leave the session, and you get that little glitch, that little server glitch moment, my force feedback can stop transmitting a signal during that. See, look, right now, it doesn't look like my headset's tracking. I don't know if that's just because the start lights were up. It might be that. But I've not had that at all of the other tracks. This might well be a performance hungry combination. This number of cars, this track might just have asked much more of my system than Brands Hatch or Laguna Seca. So let me try it at Mount Panorama, see if it does the same thing. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be an element of its front wheel drive. So the front end's not going to feel the same as it does in the rear wheel drive cars been driving, and also their GT cars. The suspension is really soft, but the car moves around a lot. Under braking, off throttle, off brake. As you release the brake pedal, it moves around a lot. And again, it's like driving a people carrier with long suspension travel, not running on low profile tyres, full fuel tank. Doesn't help that this lot just keep driving right. There you go. Doesn't help that they think that they're at Talladega and should be bump drafting. So weight transfer is nice. It's just not a polished drive like it is in Assetto Corsa 1 at the moment, for a number of reasons. So I think everybody that gets it and hasn't already been able to have like early access to it will probably need to do the same thing. They'll need to sit down, figure out how far they need to depart from the reference settings for their wheel, the force feedback. Obviously then whatever they do or don't need to do for graphics. But for that driving experience, mate, I saved that and then you hit me. But yeah, for the driving experience, I think a lot of time needs to be spent dialing it in for the individual. And then it's the same as when I've had Forza. Put in the grind to get out of these production cars and get GT car, high performance car, something that's got stiffer suspension, something that's got slicks, to see what the grip really. Ooh. They're just lethal. They just take no prisoners. But yeah, I think that out of the box, everyone will need to do some work to get it to feel right for them. As it is today, if it wasn't for the fact that it's a hugely anticipated release and everyone wants to see what the successor to Assetto Corsa is like, and if it wasn't for the fact that I wanted to stream or release a video with my initial impressions, if it wasn't for those things, if I was just doing what I did 2 years back, 3, 4, 5 years back, and I just wanted to be racing and enjoying what I'm racing and get engrossed in it, I probably wouldn't be in this right now. So immediately, what's going through my mind right now is, based on what I have access to without putting in the grind to get into a car I want to be driving, I already know that when I crash and die, when I turn this off, I'll be back in Le Mans Ultimate. And that's not because there's anything wrong with this. It is just because at the moment, with the content, I wouldn't be sacrificing the limited time I have available to be racing the championship series in Le Mans Ultimate or the daily races just to be lapping this. So because the game mode options that we've got are just quick race and practice, can't do race weekend, I'm clicking it, can't do race weekend, and because the selection of cars is what we have, and because at the moment I can't get it to go online, and I don't think there's anything behind the online anyway, but because I can't get it to do that, and we're stuck in offline mode, there isn't even today that glimmer of hope that I could perhaps go into the academy and try and progress. Can't do that today. Can't access the dealership. Can't customize the vehicle. So in the garage are production cars, and I wouldn't race them. It would be like being in iRacing and me racing the Miata or the not even the Mustang, but the Miata, rather than racing the GT3s or GTEs, and I wouldn't be doing that. So let me try. No. Let me try the Hyundai. No, let's try the Alpha. Haven't tried the Alpha. Let's try the Alpha. Oh god. See this. So this car, right? Just looking at this car. This is what it feels like driving in the hot hatches. What this looks like. High, off the road. You'd expect lots of body roll. It does have low profile tires. So let's see if that feels different. But imagine driving that and you're not on low profile tires. That's what it feels like. So again, that's not a bad thing. That's just what it feels like. Let's go change track. Go to Mount Panorama. And let's see. So 29 cars again. Ah, and the stream stopped. Let's see what's happened. Don't know what's happened there. Let me... Let's see. It might just be a subtle hint. It might be telling me that to call it a day. I don't know why it's stuck. Let me exit the game, reload it, see if that makes a difference. Let's see. Okay, so I will probably end the stream here. However, coincidentally, I've just exited the game and there's an update